Herzlich willkommen zum Singa-Webinar. Ich freue mich, Sie alle hier begrüßen zu dürfen. Heute habe ich die Gründer von Singa, Atte und Nils dabei. Gemeinsam werden wir versuchen, in der kurzen Zeit einen Einblick in die Welt von Singa und der Karaoke-Industrie zu erhalten, Ihnen zu zeigen, wer hinter dem Unternehmen steckt und warum gerade jetzt ein Investment in Singa vielversprechend ist. Zudem möchten wir gerne Ihre offenen Punkte klären und Ihnen die Möglichkeit geben, Ihre Fragen direkt an die Gründer zu stellen. Mein Name ist Mustafa und ich bin Teil des Teams von Growstage, einer Agentur, die Unternehmen aus den nordischen Ländern wie auch hier Singa dabei unterstützt, in den deutschsprachigen Markt zu expandieren. Es ist mir eine große Freude, Sie heute als Moderator durch dieses Webinar begleiten zu dürfen. Bevor wir starten, möchte ich noch kurz einige organisatorische Punkte klären. Zum Start werde ich auf Deutsch einige Insights zu Singa teilen. Danach folgt ein kurzes Interview mit den Gründern auf Englisch. Im Anschluss werde ich das Interview noch einmal auf Deutsch zusammenfassen. Zum Schluss werden wir in die Frage- und Antwortrunde übergehen. Allgemeiner Hinweis an der Stelle: Sie können jederzeit Fragen über die Funktion F&A hier bei Zoom stellen. Wir geben diese dann auch weiter, damit Sie hier auch eine Antwort erhalten. Jetzt würde ich hier an der Stelle meinen Bildschirm teilen. Ich hoffe, jeder kann an der Stelle meinen Bildschirm sehen. Can everyone see my presentation?
Yes, all good.
I don't. Perfect. Okay, Singa. Grundsätzlich kennen wir hier verschiedene Industrien. Wenn wir uns auf der einen Seite einmal die Filmindustrie anschauen und auf der anderen Seite auch die Musikindustrie, dann fällt uns eine Sache sehr, sehr stark auf. Vor 20 Jahren, vor 25 Jahren haben wir beispielsweise DVDs ausgeliehen, wenn wir Filme anschauen wollten, oder haben eben CDs gekauft. Heutzutage läuft das Ganze so ab, dass wir Musik streamen oder auch beispielsweise wie Dienstleister Netflix oder Spotify da an der Stelle dann dementsprechend beanspruchen, um Musik zu hören und Filme anzuschauen. Jetzt, wenn wir so ein bisschen in die Karaoke-Richtung schauen, dann fällt uns sehr, sehr schnell auf, dass das ziemlich stehen geblieben ist von der Zeit her. Das heißt, man lädt hier tatsächlich noch MP4-Dateien runter. Man hat da beispielsweise viele Bars, die meinetwegen Karaoke anbieten, oder man hat jetzt beispielsweise auch privat möchte man dahingehend Karaoke veranstalten und holt sich gegebenenfalls SingStar, PlayStation und dann noch einige CDs. Das heißt, wir haben hier sehr viel Hardware und sehr viel zusätzliche Software, die dafür benötigt wird, um überhaupt in so einen Karaoke-Spaß kommen zu können. Dadurch haben sich die Gründer natürlich von Singa gefragt, ja, warum ist das denn so und warum ist denn die Karaoke-Industrie in der Zeit stehen geblieben? Und damit haben sie auch letzten Endes Singa 2015 gegründet und haben hier eben die Streaming-Lösung auch dementsprechend weltweit angeboten, nämlich hier eben als Streaming-Dienst mit mittlerweile dem größten Katalog der Welt. Und Singa ist tatsächlich auch der einzige Karaoke-Dienst, der direkte Verträge mit Künstlern und Labels hat. Man kennt es ja von anderen Anbietern, die beispielsweise nicht nur die Hardware anbieten, sondern aber auch noch Covermusik beispielsweise. Das läuft hier in dem Kontext ganz anders. Hier wird tatsächlich auch die originalen Lieder dafür verwendet. Singa funktioniert sowohl für die geschäftliche als auch für die private Nutzung auf jedem Endgerät, sei es jetzt Tablets, Smartphone oder halt dann eben auch auf dem Rechner. Wenn wir uns so ein bisschen die Kategorien von Singa anschauen, nämlich die Produktlinien, dann haben wir auf der einen Seite Singa Business, welches sich ausschließlich in Richtung B2B orientiert. Hier haben wir eben eine Karaoke-Lösungen für beispielsweise Bars, Nachtlokale, Schulen, Pflegeheime und andere gemeinnützige Einrichtungen. Und auf der anderen Seite haben wir Singa Privat, welches sich an den Endkunden richtet, der eben von zu Hause aus dementsprechend auch Karaoke-Lieder streamen kann. Wenn wir uns jetzt also die preisliche Seite anschauen, auf Seiten B2B, Business Lite, da ist es so, dass eben das Anfangspaket hier 99,99 im Monat kostet, das Business Lite. Das Ganze geht dann hoch auf Business Pro, 199,99. Und Singa Privat läuft dementsprechend nicht anders wie Spotify an der Stelle ab. Da hat man hier eben eine Singa Free Version und eine Singa Premium, welches dann 9,99 im Monat kostet. Ja, warum in Singa investieren? Wir haben hier ein paar Punkte diesbezüglich zusammengefasst. Das erste natürlich in der Mitte hier hervorgehoben. Singa möchte der globale Marktführer in der Karaoke-Industrie innerhalb von 3 Jahren werden. So. Und die Karaoke-Industrie ist eine Industrie, welches 15 Milliarden Euro schwer ist. Und Singa hat bereits tatsächlich über die Jahre auch, wenn man das jetzt so im Hinblick auf die letzten 8 Jahre vergleicht, bereits ein Product Market Fit entwickelt, hat nachgewiesene Stärke, international zu skalieren, auch gezeigt. Beispielsweise auch mit dem Einstieg in den amerikanischen Markt diesen Jahres. Dann aber auch direkte Beziehungen zu Plattenfirmen, Verlegern und Künstlern. Ich hatte ja vorher erwähnt, dass die meisten Wettbewerber eben hier auf Coversongs gehen. Das Ganze läuft bei Singa tatsächlich ganz anders ab. Hier werden die Lieder direkt über die Plattenfirmen, Verlegern und dementsprechend die Künstler organisiert. Man hat im Januar diesen Jahres dementsprechend auch eine vollständige Markteinführung in die US dementsprechend auch gemacht und hat ein starkes Team mit jahrelangen Arbeitserfahrung in den Bereichen Karaoke, Musik und Technik. So, und im nächsten Step würde ich Ihnen gerne noch mal einige Impressionen von einem Investor aus Norwegen zeigen wollen, welches wir tatsächlich erst heute quasi bekommen haben. Und dafür, Nils, can we switch to the testimonial from the Norwegian investor, please?
So my story with Singa has been quite a journey. I first came across them during the pandemic when I was sitting at home trying to write songs for my cover band. This friend recommended Singa, and we ended up singing for a year and keeping ourselves entertained. And I was really blown away by the quality of the tracks and the catalog that they have, unlike anything else I've seen in the karaoke business. So after that, I went to Slush last year with my job and got to meet Atte and Juha and actually sang a song on the Apollo stage during their karaoke night. So that's quite fun, and we kept in touch, and I ended up inviting them to Startup Extreme, which is the largest venture conference in Norway, to host a karaoke night there. So and that was a great success. So and then full circle, last week I just came back from Helsinki at the Arctic 15 conference, and I got to meet Singa and their management team and their extended team at their afterworks, which they took very good care of me, and I got a really nice vibe from the whole team, and really passionate people, and we also sang a bit of karaoke. So if I wasn't sure about investing then, that definitely closed the deal. So really believe in this team, and good luck with the fundraising.
Ja, ich denke, das war an der Stelle eine treffende Zusammenfassung. Ja, das waren in der Kürze die grundlegenden Informationen zu Singa. Und jetzt würde ich an der Stelle die Gründer Atte und Nils nochmal bitten, reinzukommen. Ihr Video anzuschalten. Und ich habe einige Fragen vorbereitet und werde diese im Folgenden den Gründern auf Englisch stellen, im Interviewformat. Wichtig zu erwähnen, im Anschluss würde ich die Antworten dann dementsprechend nochmal auf Deutsch zusammenfassen. Nils and Atte, feel free to join us.
Hello. Hello, hello.
Hi. Hi to Helsinki. Yeah, maybe kind of like one of the most exciting question, I believe, is to kind of get to know you a bit closer, and what is your relation to karaoke, and especially kind of what is maybe your go-to karaoke song and why?
Yeah, I'm more myself a kind of opportunistic karaoke singer, so I'm always happy to give the mic to whoever really wants to perform and really wants to sing. But if the night is about to die down, then I'm happy to grab the mic and sing a song and keep the atmosphere up. And that's why my go-to karaoke song is "Big Balls" by AC/DC. It's an absolute crowd pleaser.
Yep, always a classic. I've had a long history with karaoke from my young days as well, even from before joining the company. And these days I used to always be Amy Winehouse Valerie, but recently I've been doing How Blue Can You Get by B.B. King.
Okay, nice songs, nice selection. What is one interesting question that I actually have regarding the kind of more on the German market? Do you know like what people love to sing the most on the German market?
Yes, I actually have some recent data that we pulled up here. So surprisingly, the Germans do like to sing a lot of English songs, a lot of classics. You've got Backstreet Boys, and then obviously Flowers by Miley Cyrus. And then more classics like Dancing Queen by ABBA, Wonderwall, by Oasis, and then the 99 Balloons by Nina is kind of the fifth most sang song in Germany. But a lot of really solid classics.
Definitely guilty of singing the #1 song already. Yeah, I can relate to that. So to come more to the business area of things, from all the industries in the world, why did you choose the karaoke industry?
So that spans pretty far back. So my parents back in the day, they got really into karaoke as a hobby, and then they ended up founding the Karaoke World Championships, and then me becoming the kind of managing director of the family business. Then eventually I got to run also the Karaoke World Championships and got to literally work with every karaoke company in the world and understood that industry very deeply. And it was extremely hardware driven. There was kind of this like unspoken kind of agreement across the industry that if no one innovates, then everyone can just keep, keeping those really nice margins, because people love karaoke, and even if the product is super crappy, people still keep coming back and buying more.
Mm-hmm. Understood. And given Singa now as a streaming solution for karaoke, how does Singa work? How do I actually sign up, for example, as a private user or as a bar owner, for instance?
Yeah, so that was part of the innovation, that there was nothing like Netflix or Spotify in the karaoke industry. No one was trying to even make something like that. But at the same time, you have, back in 2013, 14, 15, you had services like Audible, like literal books were getting digitized, and you could get them via streaming on a monthly subscription, but you couldn't do that for karaoke. So we literally created the Spotify for karaoke by launching Singa. So Singa works exactly like Spotify. So if you know how to use Spotify or Deezer or Apple Music, you know how to use Singa, and you understand kind of how Singa works. There's one major distinction between us and those services, is that Singa also services businesses. So you can get legally licensed karaoke for your home use, your private use, but also for your public use, be it a small bar in a small city or a huge karaoke room establishment with tens of rooms in Berlin or wherever, or even in a huge stadium like we had in the intro video, and it's all streaming based, monthly subscription, fully licensed.
And I can do that pretty much from my smartphone and from any device that I have available.
Correct. Singa is fully platform agnostic. So we have a saying that if it can make an API request over the internet and then render graphics, then we can power that. So we can technically power your internet connected toaster if it has a screen. So Singa can literally work on any device.
Understood. So you're now live in 34 countries, including the US, UK, Nordics, Australia, and Germany. Why did you choose to start with these markets? And I believe everyone asks himself, why not Asia? Karaoke is huge there, right?
Exactly. There's a few reasons for that. First of them probably being that we are still a very small company. And when you are a very small company, dreaming big and then trying to conquer the world, you need to be really careful on where you spend your time and resources. So going from Finland to rest of the Nordics to rest of Western Europe, then all of Europe, and then similar markets to Europe like Australia and the US just made so much sense, because a lot of the things that we built here, the way we manage customer subscriptions, all work across all these markets. Most of the the catalog works across all these markets, like I just mentioned, that a lot of the German top songs are actually American songs, or in the case of ABBA, Nordic songs, but sang in English. So these markets just have so much in common, and so basically we expanded to West to be kind of careful in our growth, so that then we can manage both our costs, but also get the most out of the small resources that we have. And then US is by far the largest music and entertainment market in the world when it comes to revenue. So even though there might be more singers in Asia, there is definitely more capable singers to actually pay for a subscription service in the US. So it just made so much sense on so many levels. But definitely the long-term goal is to be the world's leading global karaoke brand. So we will definitely expand to Asia when the time is right and when we have the resources that we feel comfortable with, embarking on that journey.
Mm-hmm. Getting away from the Asian side, more like towards the German market, since this is now basically a webinar for the German audience, and the more interesting part on that side will be, what are your plans in terms of the German market?
We definitely see German market being kind of the leading Western European market. So we already have a lot of good experience from the Nordics and the UK, and we see, based on early data, that Germany will definitely be kind of the next up and coming large market that we want to really kind of invest into. So the last time we had this webinar for the last funding round, we had just technically opened up the German market. We didn't have a lot of local songs. We've been investing a lot into acquiring local catalog for Germany, and that has created a lot of good feedback. Actually, the busiest B2B customer that we have is in Munich. Out of all the 34 markets that we have, the busiest B2B customer is in Munich. So it's already kind of early product market fit for Germany. And we intend to keep investing more into acquiring more catalog and then expanding in the German market, both by having a kind of a forward-facing salespeople there in the local market, but also have German-speaking customer support to also help keep the German customers happy.
Connected to the expanding part of the business, why are you looking for new funding at the moment, and where will be the money spent? So
there's probably three key reasons why we're now raising more funding. Obviously is that we want to continue growing in these 34 markets, that we've opened up, and that we have such good early signals of product market fit. So we want to make sure that we're able to do that and continue investing, even though there are some macroeconomic concerns throughout the tech industry. And then if we can do that, then we are pretty comfortable with the plan that we are able to maintain 100% year-over-year growth pace, while also doing the kind of investments and then the kind of growth plan that allows us to also hit cash flow neutrality in the next 12 months, which will then allow us to keep the 100% year-over-year growth rate, but also make sure that if the tumultuous times in the economic and in the financial markets continue, we're able to also be the masters of our own destiny. And then that requires a bit of investment, and that's the key part where a lot of this investment will go into.
Mm-hmm. Diving a little deeper into the current funding rounds, I recognize that you have already a couple of anchor investors on board. Can you tell us a little bit more about them?
Yes. So this time, the anchor investors invested 1.64 million euros. So the last time they invested 1.4 million. So we got them to invest more this time because it was largely also a same group. So existing investors, Maki and then Superhero, invested. So Maki, this will be the third time that they invest into Singa. So they continue to be bullish on the company. And then notably Superhero, for them, it's going to be the fourth time. And then they did the fourth investment out of a new fund. So, for everyone who knows a bit about the financial markets, it is a very, very, very positive testament towards a company when you're investing from a new fund, because the new fund doesn't have an existing ownership in the company. But then also we got new investors who also didn't have any ownership in the company from the co-founders of companies like Volt, Supercell, Epidemic Sound, Audio Shake, and then we got people who have been advising us from the music industry, who've never invested into the companies that they advised, but then they decided to invest into Singa when they got comfortable with the company. So those are all real testaments to the track record that we've had up until now.
Right. Talking about the current funding round, we have the instrument of convertible bonds at the moment. So can you elaborate more on that? What it is? What are the upsides? What are the overall benefits of that particular instrument?
Yes, so the short way to describe a convertible bond is that you buy a bond that is technically a debt, but the reason or the end goal for the bond is not to pay back the debt. But it is debt now because it will not convert into shares until a specific qualified investment round or equity event that will happen down the line. So, and when that happens, the bond will convert into a corresponding amount of shares at the valuation of the later date. And because the investment is theoretically already made through the bond, the conversion will have a 20% discount to the value that is going to be happening at the time of the conversion. And then the investors will also accrue 10% annual interest to the invested principal that will also convert at the time of the conversion. And then the reason why we chose this instrument, or really the lead investors chose this instrument, is that because it is such a tumultuous time in the world economy, no one really knows if the market is going to keep going down, if it's going to keep flat, or like when something will happen. But they firmly believe that Singa is an interesting company worth investing into. So this is a kind of a vehicle for them to invest early and get the benefit of the discount and then the annual interest. until a time when a company or when Singa will go out and raise a qualified investment round that will value the company at a later date.
Thank you for the explanation. Last question. Why invest in Singa now? Why is this a good opportunity?
So we've definitely, like I mentioned, we have been able to prove that we have a product market fit across our 34 markets. We were able to withstand a once in 100-year pandemic, being a very kind of a B2B hospitality industry focused company, and came out of the pandemic and started to immediately grow at a 100% year-over-year pace. So, we have been able to, service large customers, small customers across all of our markets. And now, in the kind of the words of our lead investor, Ilkka Kivimäki, now is kind of the sweet moment when an investor can invest into a company that is right at the point that it's, starting to prove the product market fit, but hasn't really kind of, blown up yet. So it's not too late, but it's just the right time, kind of minimizing the risk, but also maximizing the upside going forward. So that's why they felt that it was the right time to invest. And we also believe that is also exactly the reason why a retail investor also should invest into Singa.
Right. Thank you. Thank you for the answers. I'll quickly summarize it in German, and then we can head over to the Q&A round, and then you guys can hop in again.
All right.
Okay, jetzt noch mal der Versuch an der Stelle, die Antworten auf Deutsch zusammenzufassen. In dem Interview wurde erklärt, warum Singa sich für die Disruption dieses speziellen Marktes entschieden hat. Die Gründergeschichte von Singa sowie die Hintergründe von Atte wurden erwähnt. Hauptgrund war hier die Karaoke-Industrie selbst. Diese wurde als analog und stark hardwareabhängig beschrieben. Es wurde darauf hingewiesen, dass andere Industrien sich bereits erfolgreich weiterentwickelt haben, durch Player wie beispielsweise Netflix oder Spotify. In der Karaoke-Industrie ist jedoch lange Zeit nichts passiert. Die Branche hat großes Potenzial und bietet somit eine gute Gelegenheit für Innovation. Die Funktionsweise von Singa wurde auch nochmal erläutert. Es wurde darauf hingewiesen, dass Singa ähnlich wie Spotify funktioniert, jedoch auch für kommerzielle Zwecke genutzt werden kann. Singa ist bereits in 34 Ländern, unter anderem in den USA, Großbritannien, den Nordics und Deutschland aktiv. Es wurde erklärt, warum diese Märkte als Startpunkt gewählt wurden. Die Expansion in den Westen wurde als strategische Entscheidung für ein kontrolliertes und nachhaltiges Wachstum beschrieben. Die USA wurden aufgrund des dortigen großen Karaoke-Marktes priorisiert, während Asien als Zielmarkt in der Zukunft auch gesehen wird, welche von den verfügbaren Ressourcen und den richtigen Marktbedingungen abhängig gemacht werden. Im Hinblick auf den deutschen Markt hat Singa Pläne, den deutschen Katalog weiter zu erweitern und Ressourcen wie beispielsweise oder Personal wie beispielsweise Vertriebsmitarbeiter einzustellen. Das Geschäftsmodell von Singa wurde zudem nochmal kurz erläutert. Es wurde darauf hingewiesen, dass Singa auch Geld durch verschiedene Kanäle verdient, unter anderem auch die Firmenlizenzen im B2B-Bereich. Das Unternehmen sucht derzeit nach neuer Finanzierung, um seine Expansion fortzusetzen. Diese umfassen eine Skalierung in den bestehenden Märkten, einschließlich auch Deutschland, weiteres 100%iges Wachstum pro Jahr und die Erreichung einer ausgeglichenen Cashflow-Situation. Es wurde erwähnt, dass Singa namhafte Investoren an Bord hat, darunter Maki, Superhero, Bolt-Gründer, Supercell und Epidemic Sound. Die Investition erfolgt in Form von Wandelanleihen. Es wurde erklärt, dass dieses Investitionsinstrument von vielen Investoren auch gewählt und favorisiert wird, da es verschiedene Vorteile bietet, wie zum Beispiel einen im jetzigen Kontext 20%igen Rabatt bei Wandlung und einen jährlichen Zins von 10%. Dies macht es besonders für Investoren attraktiv, die nach konstanten und sicheren Investitionsmöglichkeiten suchen. Dann hatte ich gefragt gehabt, warum jetzt in Singa investieren? Es wurde betont, dass Singa mittlerweile über einen guten Product Market Fit verfügt, und hervorzuheben sind hier auch die kommerziellen Unternehmenslizenzen, an die man auch schwer und mühselig rankommt. Außerdem wurde erwähnt, dass sich Singa aktuell vor einer intensiven Skalierungsphase befindet und somit eine gute Gelegenheit für Investoren bietet. So, jetzt würde ich die Runde gerne an der Stelle öffnen wollen, nämlich für Fragen aus dem Publikum beziehungsweise von den Zuschauern. Sie haben, wie bereits erwähnt, die Möglichkeit unter der Funktion F und A heißt die Funktion, also Sie klicken da einmal drauf, dann können Sie einfach Ihre Frage eintippen und senden. Wir würden diese dann dementsprechend auch dann direkt den Gründern weitergeben. Von der Sprache her können Sie die Fragen entweder auf Englisch oder Deutsch stellen. Genau, dann würde ich vorschlagen, öffnen wir die Runde an der Stelle. Nils, Atte, feel free to join again. And as far as I can see, we already have 3 questions, 2 questions actually, which is number 1, was ist das Ziel bei Singa? Wo seht ihr das Unternehmen in 5 oder 10 Jahren? What is the goal of Singa? And where do you see Singa in 5 to 10 years?
So the goal is definitely to be the leading karaoke brand in the world. So that obviously will include the software side of the business. So the thing that we're now doing, kind of creating a brand and an app and service that will become kind of the operating system for karaoke for all purposes where karaoke is being done, be it on a kind of personal level with a mobile phone or with a smart TV, or in the kind of global and public setting across different businesses and events. But also we are very interested in kind of adjacent markets down the line. So kind of, there are hardware components to karaoke business that, once we are large enough for a brand, we're definitely interested in exploring, and then also other adjacent businesses that we can roll into the kind of, especially the B2B side of our offering. But definitely the most well-known leading karaoke brand in all things karaoke, that is the plan.
Next question. Die Pandemie hat die Gastronomiebranche stark getroffen. Wie hat sich das auf euer Geschäft ausgewirkt? Das hatten wir, meine ich, bereits im Interview etwas angerissen gehabt, würde ich aber an der Stelle direkt nochmal stellen, damit wir gegebenenfalls nochmal eine detaillierte Antwort drauf bekommen. How did the pandemic influence the business in general, and how did you make it out, basically?
Yeah, like I mentioned already earlier, we are a B2B first company, so a majority of the revenue and then the business of Singa comes from the larger speaking B2B hospitality sector. And those lockdowns did obviously hit that industry hard, but we were able to withstand it both because of our good product. So even though people took billing pauses, they did not churn, because Singa is by far the best product in the market, but also because we have this approach of being the best karaoke brand for everyone who wants to do karaoke. So when the bars were closed, people obviously did a lot of karaoke at home. And I think now would be actually a nice time for Nils to kind of go through just a quick couple of slides. We have some visual presentation on how the pandemic affected the revenue of the company, but also how we immediately bounced back stronger than ever. So Juha, if you can queue up the slides, and then Nils can talk them through.
Yeah, so as Atte said, the pandemic definitely was a pretty big hamper on us. We were heavily leading on the hospitality sector in terms of revenues in the first quarter of 2020. So what you can see here is basically our quarterly revenue per year or per quarter from 2017 on. If you see there, if you look at where we've marked in the graph where the pandemic begins, we were on pace to more than double our revenues in 2020, just before the pandemic happened. Obviously, the large dip there was due to the lockdowns happening, and once the lockdowns were over, we noticed that a majority of our customers came back. But what was beneficial about the pandemic was that we did have the consumer product also available, and that grew more than 100% in the first pandemic year. So we saw a lot of fluctuation in terms of B2B revenue throughout those years, but we also saw the consumer product growing basically in a straight line throughout the entire period. The big effect of the of the pandemic was also that it kind of took away our ability to invest heavily into the B2B sector until we kind of were in a place where you know, the markets were open again. And finally in Q2 or even Q3 to some extent of last year, that happened. So if you look at where kind of the last lockdowns ended in Q2 of 2022, we've basically been hitting our growth stride ever since, and it's still continuing in all of our existing markets. If you go to the next slide, here you can see kind of the development on a yearly basis. So from 2017, we've been on a steady growth curve, tripling and more than doubling our revenues in 2019, and we are still on that pace before the pandemic hit. But despite the huge effect of the pandemic, we were still able to grow the business, just not as fast as we were basically used to. But last year was, like I said, fantastic for us, especially the second half of the year. And we've been on that doubling pace ever since, and are looking to double again now in 2023. In the next slide, you can see kind of the mix of the consumer and the business-to-business revenues, and you can also see some of the effects of the pandemic lockdowns there. So our B2B revenue is here on a monthly basis from 2020 all the way until last month, which is the last month we've been able to close. And basically you can see there the B2B revenue in March or after March 2020 basically falling off a cliff. And then you see those fluctuations throughout the years, and you see the consumer business growing at a steady pace throughout the entire period and continuing to this day. So basically coming out of the pandemic, what we had was two strong legs to stand on in both solidly growing consumer base, as well as kind of the rebound in the B2B business now when we're finally again able to invest into that growth. So that's kind of a long and short story of what the last couple of years have been for us, and why we're so confident heading into the future now that we've been able to open up the US market and all these other 34 markets that we're also looking forward to bringing singing to.
Great. Thank you for the very detailed answer on that side. Ich habe jetzt hier an der Stelle keine weiteren Fragen mehr. Gibt es denn noch weitere Fragen? Gerne einfach hier unter F und A die Frage eingeben und absenden. Okay, we got another question here. How do you generate sales leads? How do you approach leads? What is your conversion and what is your churn rate? So please open up everything you have on your sales side.
I think some of those data are actually available in the due diligence material up on the Invesdor-Plattform. But the way we, especially on the B2B side, how we generate leads is by having an active inside sales organization. So we do go out and research companies that are, could benefit from Singa software, either existing karaoke companies and bars, but also larger hospitality operators who might have not, been that comfortable venturing into karaoke because of the bad, product that have been in the market before, but, would be delighted to do so with Singa. And that's literally the story of our, largest current customer. They started out with one software they had always wanted to do, or one software license from us. They had always wanted to do karaoke, but like never really wanted to use any of those old crappy karaoke products in their venues because they had high brand venues. But then when they saw us, then they started to expand with us. So we go out actively and then target especially larger opportunities, but then we also do a lot of content on our blog, SEO driven kind of thought leadership, inbound marketing, so that then when people go into Google and then Google best karaoke software, how to run karaoke in my bar, we want to be the first, second, or third link that they find, and then they can contact us. And then the Singa Business Lite that you mentioned in the introduction is especially for those kind of customers who can immediately start a self-serve karaoke night with the Singa Business software directly from a browser. And usually when we do file what we call a sales qualified lead, so we do find a customer or the customer finds us, the conversions are really high because we are by far the best software in the market. So if we are matched with a customer, it's rarely that we lose out to someone else. It's they at the end decide not to start karaoke, and then when they do start with us, it's literally almost for life. So our what small churn we have, which is hovering below 2% on a month-over-month basis, most of that churn is what we call involuntary churn. So businesses go bankrupt, or then they change from a karaoke concept to a cocktail bar or whatever, and they no longer need karaoke. But we don't lose customers to competitors, so to speak.
And maybe
thank you.
One thing maybe to mention still is with kind of the increased growth we've seen over the past year, we've gotten more and more specialized within the sales and marketing teams in terms of these different channels of growth. So both the inbound side, as Atte mentioned, which is very much kind of a self-propelling business in that we get this thought leadership online with regards to karaoke being the #1 place for karaoke, no matter where it happens, and that generates business. But then something that especially now that we've moved up market into these larger and larger hospitality chains via the inside sales approach, more than a third of our sales also comes through upsell or expansion. So if you have a larger hospitality chain with say between 50 and 150 venues, we also expand within those customers at an increasing rate right now. So if you take Singa into one of your bars, then suddenly you see that, okay, people are staying longer, they're buying more drinks. So the customer relationship basically grows from there. I think our largest customer to date has more than 100 licenses in 40 something different venues across the Nordics right now. And that's kind of our approach to kind of mix these different revenue sources, both the inbound, focusing the inside sales on more of these larger hospitality operators, and then growing that expansion pot month over month.
And that basically leads to a dynamic that in our established markets, which we call the Nordics, UK, and Western Europe, we actually have a positive net revenue retention. So even though we have that involuntary churn, that customers go bankrupt, we expand so much in our existing customer base that we actually have positive net revenue retention. So we grow the existing revenue base every month, even though some companies do go bankrupt, even without the new sales coming in.
Thank you for the insightful answer. Are there any more questions? Gibt es noch weitere Fragen von den Zuschauern? I would suggest to wait like 1-2 minutes and then we can basically wrap it up. Gibt es weitere Fragen? Warten hier jetzt an der Stelle noch eine Minute. Okay, it seems like no further questions from the audience. Dann würde ich an der Stelle die Runde einmal schließen wollen. Hier an der Stelle nochmal, liebe Teilnehmer, wir nähern uns dem Ende dieses Webinars, welches uns die Möglichkeit an der Stelle gegeben hat, einen Einblick in die Welt von Singa und der Karaoke-Industrie zu bekommen. Wir haben heute die Gründer kennengelernt, warum jetzt ein Investment in Singa sehr erfolgsversprechend ist, und konnten gleichzeitig noch offene Fragen klären. Jetzt richte ich mich an Sie, liebe Teilnehmer und Teilnehmer dieses Webinars. Wenn Sie den Weg von Singa genauso vielversprechend sehen wie wir, dann möchte ich Sie ermutigen, diese Gelegenheit zu ergreifen und in Singa zu investieren. Die Investitionsrunde auf Invesdor steht noch bis zum 21.06. offen. Singa, muss man natürlich nochmal dazu erwähnen, befindet sich aktuell an einem Wendepunkt, wie bereits erwähnt, an dem es entscheidende Schritte unternehmen wird, um seine Marktposition weiter zu festigen, aber auch stark weiter zu skalieren. Ihr Investment kann dabei helfen, diese Wachstumspläne zu verwirklichen und gemeinsam mit Singa Erfolge zu erzielen. Weitere Infos folgen per E-Mail. Noch einmal vielen Dank für die Teilnahme und wir wünschen Ihnen einen schönen sonnigen Tag. Bis dahin.